We're entering a new era of rapid change, mentally, technologically, and socially. But this full moon in Capricorn is reminding us that even in uncertainty, structure is sacred. You're being invited to rebuild from your inner foundation up. This video will touch a little bit on the Uranus ingress into Gemini that happened at the beginning of this week, because this is a big deal, a big collective shift that's happening, and I want to touch on it a little bit again and what it means for the collective. And then we'll get into the full moon forecast. Really, the only things that are going on this week are the full moon, and then at the end of the week, Saturn is turning retrograde. So I will walk you through those. I don't have time this week to do the it by rising sign, but this should still give you a lot of information to go on. Hi, I'm Sarah with Life with Training Wheels, where I use astrology, tarot, and other spiritual tools to help guide you home and back to yourself, whether you are just on the path of self-discovery or if you're in a time where you're really going through it. So if that sounds like something that you want to stick around for, then I'm here for it. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found me. And if you are returning, thank you so much for returning. And if you are returning, if you could do me a huge favor and comment below on if the sound quality in this video is better than it has been. I'm doing something a little bit different with the microphone, and think I have it a little bit dialed in, but I want your feedback to help me know if that's true or not. So first, let's talk a little bit more about Gemini entering, or Uranus entering into Gemini, because it's a big deal. So overall, what does Gemini represent? Well, Gemini is mutable air. Mutable means changeable, and the air signs are about like our thought, our communication. It governs, so therefore it governs the mind, perception, communication, technology, things like social media, learning, and local networks. Gemini is kind of representative of our local community, our daily commutes, things like that. It's associated with youth as well, adaptability, media, and how we exchange information. So again, things like thought, logic, reason, data, and facts, language, speech, writing, and social media, messaging and marketing and public relations, local community, our neighborhoods, our siblings, and like extended family, short-term travel and transportation, education, especially the early and secondary, not so much colleges, curiosity, cleverness, and wittiness, and variety. Geminis always like to change things up. It also is our nervous system regulation, and whether we are overstimulated or not. And so all of that is like on a personal level, more on a personal level. But then if you look at like mundane and geopolitical astrology, basically we just take those ideas and expand them, right? So in mundane astrology, Gemini rules the transportation systems. So cars, roads, supply chains, and air traffic especially since it is an air sign. Education systems, especially elementary and high school, media and journalism, youth movements, communication infrastructure, so like internet, networks, telecom, public discourse, so what the collective is talking about, information warfare and propaganda, and contracts, trade, and business deals. So then you have Uranus, the planet of disruption, and sudden awakenings and sudden change, like shaking things up for the betterment is really what Uranus does, but it may not always seem like it's for the betterment right at the outset, because change is hard. So with Uranus, which is rebellion, it's also invention. Uranus is also just, but this is why it shakes things up. It's where you want to break out of the box and do something different. You don't want to be confined by structures and rules and stuff like that. You want to break out of the box and be an individual and do things your own way. So with that moving into Gemini, we can expect shocks, revolutions, and innovation in all these Gemini governed places. So like potentially AI plus internet evolution or revolution. So think next gen AI, potentially brain machine interfaces, and global info access revolutions. Speech and freedom of expression will be big. So we might be seeing over the next while, 7 to 8 years, legal battles over speech and censorship, a lot of misinformation versus truth, a lot more of it, rather. Could see a lot of transportation upgrades, such as flying cars, new mass transit models, smart highways, drone deliveries, things like that. Neural, since it rules the nervous system, and neural and mental health advances. So maybe breakthroughs in neuroplasticity, treatments in like ADHD and things of that nature, or just like technological advances related to the nervous system, perhaps. Language and literacy changes. How we read, write, and learn is about to either be upgraded or destabilized, or both at the same time. I think starting this year, our education system, again, primarily elementary and high school, is going to dramatically change. And I could see it going one of two ways, and possibly going both ways, depending on where you live. It could go where more and more technology is brought into the schools and brought into the classroom, and we utilize AI and things like that. Or it could be, and I could see this being a youth thing too. It could be like just a rejection of technology altogether, like youth rebellion, like I said, and education collapse or rebuild, radical curriculum shifts, digital education revolutions, and youth-led activism. So kind of an exciting time. We really need to pay attention to our youth and what they're seeing, because they mirror what they see in us, right? So I think it'll be a good time to really pay attention to them, and what types of things they want to shake up in the world, because they're going to be the leaders of the future, right? So let's pay attention to them. Yeah, and then with youth or just people overall, Gemini is very mentally stimulating. Uranus is as well. It is the higher octave of Mercury, which is the planet of communication, everything. So it is, those sudden insights. It is a lot of mental stimulation. So you have those two combined, and we could just be having a lot of mental overload, collective nervous system burnout, which might drive a return to simplicity for a lot of folks, or full techno integration. I think we're going to see a split in the types of people that are out there, the types of people that want the chips in their mind, that want their bank accounts in their wrists, that, want to be integrated with technology that way. And I think we're also going to see a lot of people just completely shunning technology and returning to simplicity, like off-grid living, disconnecting from society as much as possible. Like, I think we're gonna see both things happening simultaneously. Then if we kind of bring this down even more into the earth, Gemini, while Gemini is air, it transmits information through the grid, and Uranus and Gemini will transform potentially how humanity connects across physical distance. So instant info, global unification, or fragmentation can go either way. How it interacts with Earth's data, so quantum computing, AI analyzing ecosystems, predictive weather technology, maybe some biomimicry, mimicking or digitizing Earth's wisdom in some way or capacity, and changing its movement across land and air. So, climate adaptive mobility, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that was something that came up in my research. And then like smart cities type things. And then earth themes that are affected as well. Gemini rules our neighborhoods, right? So then you think larger scale, that would be our land borders and our mobility. So, Gemini rules short distance travel as well. So our local regions and their friction, things might be getting redefined. Agriculture and local supply chains, because of the transportation related aspect, and transportation revolutions might affect food and resource access and routes. And then grid level upgrades. Uranus is it's electrifying. It's our nervous system, but also our electricity. So Earth's electromagnetic grids and our nervous system may either become more synced or more overwhelmed. So there's a lot of things that Uranus and Gemini could bring, and I think there really is going to be some splits in all of it. And as a collective over the next 7 to 8 years, I think there really will be splits, but potentially, there might be things that we all come together on as well. But we shall see. So keep your eyes peeled for more. Uranus is going to be here for a while, so I will be doing more videos about Uranus and Gemini. I definitely want to get one out that is specific to each rising sign in detail over the next 7 to 8 years, what it is going to mean for you. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So now let's get into today's full moon forecast. Again, I really apologize that I'm not able to do by rising sign, but I still encourage you to listen to this because, we are all part of the collective, and I do have a special offer as well that I'll just plug right now. If you are interested in learning how to take these collective readings and apply them to your own chart, there will be a link in the description below for a waitlist for a course that I'm building that will take you basically from zero to being able to do that. So I am going to walk you through how to simply pull up your own birth chart, to helping you learn what all the little glyphs and symbols mean, so it's not like a foreign language, to going over your big three, and then finally, as a bonus, ending up with how to take these collective readings and apply them to your life and your chart. So if that is something that interests you, please sign up for the waitlist below, and that will be coming out. I'm hoping I'll put out more information soon, but I'm hoping that will be able to go live in August. So If you want to be made aware of that, sign up for the waitlist. Anyway, so today we have the full moon in Capricorn. So first, what is a full moon? So it's when the sun and moon are making an opposition in the sky, and it's the halfway point from when they last met up together at the new moon. So it's a time when things should be like manifesting, right? Like if when planets meet up, that's a new beginning. Well, when they're opposing each other, that should be when whatever goals they set out together, whatever they're trying to accomplish together, halfway there should be some things coming to fruition, and it's the time to kind of pull out the weeds, right? It's the time to review and reflect and hone in on what's working and let go of the things that is not working to help us progress forward. And then as an opposition, anytime planets are in opposition, or even when you just look at the houses of the zodiac wheel, the houses that are in opposition are two sides of the same coin, really. And so when things are in opposition, it's really asking us to balance those things out, to make sure that we're not giving too much attention to one area and not enough attention to another. So it's a time, so full moons are a time that highlights where we might be off balance and asks us to look to make sure that we are in balance between the two polarities of the luminaries, the sun and the moon, and letting go of whatever is not continuing to move us forward. So that's what a full moon in general is. So then we look to see what a full moon in Capricorn means. And this is where it's asking us to take note of where we may be too stuck in our emotions. Cancer is the opposite side of Capricorn. So where we may be too stuck in our emotions, too stuck or too focused on our home, or reminiscing too much about the past, and focusing too much on our ancestry and how we grew up and things like that. Those are all Cancer things. And not focused enough on our present and on the things that we are trying to build. Capricorn is very much the builder energy. It's about structure, putting in the hard work, but not necessarily in the traditional sense. I think collectively we're trying to move away from the grind of doing something you hate that we've been programmed to think is normal, right? That type of grind, I think we're slowly moving away from. So more like the hard work where it takes some courage, some effort to get the things you desire, where you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, because Cancer is all about the comfort zone. So true growth happens when you step just beyond your comfort zone. You can't dive across, you need to just step across, right? And that's where true growth happens, and that's where Capricorn is pulling us towards. You got to put in the hard work, be willing to be uncomfortable to achieve greater and better parts of yourself. So overall, this full moon is asking, what is it that you want to build, and where might you be staying in your comfort zone? So that is a good, if you want to journal on that, that would be a great journaling question. So then we add in the aspects. So there are no exact aspects that it's making, but it's still within the orb of influence of being in a trine to, here's the full moon. It's in a trine to Mars and the South Node and Virgo, and a sextile to Pisces, to the North Node and Pisces. And then the sun is the flip of that. It's in a sextile to Mars and the South Node, and in a trine to the North Node. So with this, with Mars being our motivation and willpower and things like that, and the North and South Node being that karmic pull of where we're trying to let go of things and where we are being guided towards learning new things, soul growth. So with this, I'm feeling that this full moon really, really, really wants us to let go of those lower vibrational energies of Virgo, of being overly critical of ourselves and others, being a perfectionist, and like letting that imposter syndrome hold us back. And we all know what that is. We all feel it, right? So letting go of that type energy, because it doesn't do any good for us. So learning how to just do the thing instead of giving ourselves all the, you're not qualified enough, you're not blah blah blah. Also letting go of any bad habits or addictions, because Virgo kind of rules, it's our daily habits and routines, so it rules our health, right? So and it also rules our digestive system and co-rules the liver, which plays a key role in the digestive system. It also rules the nervous system, the enteric nervous system. So the nervous system, a large part of our nervous system resides in the gut, actually. So bad habits and addictions definitely affect all these things. So with Mars meeting up with Virgo and the South Node, which we'll talk more about when that is exact, hopefully that will give us the, like, we might be having just where we wake up one day and we're like, well, I'm over that. I'm done with that. I don't want to do that ever again. So hopefully that will be true for you if that is something that you suffer with, addictions. And addictions can be, it rules our digestive system, but also our nervous system. So that can be, addiction to technology and social media. That definitely affects our nervous system. And our gut, right? Like, you get nervous. Growing up, I was diagnosed with nervous stomach. So yeah, your nervous system definitely plays a part in your gut health. So, anyway, the South Node and Virgo with Mars being there and this full moon like sextiling it, I think, and the full moon being in Capricorn, this building, this structure, I think we're really being encouraged and supported with letting go of any of those bad habits or addictions. And then as we work on letting those things go, we're being asked to lean into more of the positive sides, the positive manifestations, the higher vibrations of the North Node and Pisces. So that compassion, that understanding the concept, like truly understanding the concept of universal love, and that we are all one. This is a big concept to understand, and it can be hard. It can be hard to understand, right? Because we see a lot of evil in the world, and we don't want to be all one with that evil. We don't want to have compassion for that evil. But that is something that the North Node and Pisces is asking us to do. And I think that is something that we collectively need to do in order to heal the world, heal the planet. The Bible says, love your enemy. And compassion and understanding that universal love, I think, is a big part of that. And recognizing too that the world is a mirror too. So recognizing that what darkness we see in the world is a mirror of what may also need to be healed in us. And I'm not saying that that means that you have this same evil in you, but like, there's a lot of evil in this world against children, for example, right? Well, how many of us need to do inner child healing work, right? And not to the level that a lot of these children that are going through horrific things need to do healing work. But how many of us have an inner child wound, right? Like everybody. So not only having compassion for everybody else, but compassion for ourselves, and recognizing, like, looking at the exterior world and looking at the dark things in it, and kind of internalizing that and saying, okay, well, what can this represent for my own world? Where can I heal this wound within myself? This collective wound, where is that residing in me, and how can I heal myself? Because I truly believe that that's where the healing of the world starts, is within. So, and then learning to trust and to have faith. That is another big part of North Node and Pisces. In whatever, and faith in whatever way that makes sense or is meaningful to you, right? Whatever term you want to use, whether that's higher self, universe, God, or anything else it is that you have faith in, but leaning more into that faith is what we're being guided towards. And with this full moon in Capricorn being like the building energy, and the South Node in Virgo, it's letting go of the needing to know all the details. Like, the Virgo energy needs to have everything planned out. It needs to be practical. We need to have lists. It needs to be organized, things like that. But we're being called to build the future that we want to build without knowing exactly how we're going to get there. By having faith that if we just keep taking one step in the direction that we're being called towards, one step in that free fall direction, and just trusting in it, and letting go of the need to know every how, why. I think that is what we are being asked to do, and being asked to take those practical steps toward building both the life within and without you that would reflect what it is, reflect in your own chart, and collectively, this letting go of the perfectionism and just the trust. So this sextile and trine combo with the nodes, just to note, will be exact on the 13th. So we're at the full moon today. We're kind of gearing up towards this energy, and then it'll be at its most potent energy, this sextile trine with the nodes, on the 13th. So now, since there aren't any other aspects being made with the moon, that's the only aspects. That's why this is a big full moon. It's calling you towards your potential, calling you towards building structures on how to lean into that trust, right? We have those four areas talking to each other. The stepping outside of our comfort zone with Capricorn and building structures and things like that. Cancer, we want to still make sure that we are emotionally safe, emotionally sound, building structures to build that safety, but not remaining in our comfort zone, not staying stuck in our comfort zone, right? We want to be comfortable, we want to feel safe, but we also want to progress a little bit just outside our comfort zone. And then this letting go of the perfectionism, letting go of that self-critical voice, and just doing the thing and having trust and faith in the free fall that things are going to work out, and that we don't always need to know, and we can have faith that we are moving in the right direction, and pulling that, like tapping into our intuition, letting go a little bit more of the logic, and leaning into a little bit more of the intuition. So yeah, now since that's the only aspect to talk about, the next thing we look at is what rules the full moon. And Saturn is what rules the full moon, and Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, which we've talked a bit about. So Saturn conjunct Neptune retrograde in Aries is an energy of taking our dreams and putting them into action. So another very similar vibe to what this full moon is. This Saturn Neptune combo is still in this beautiful mini grand trine. I'm calling it a divine mini grand trine. With Pluto in Aquarius, which is transformation of the collective, and Uranus in Gemini, which is also a lot of revolution in the collective. So I know the world looks extremely ugly and scary and not what anyone had thought it would look like right now, but the fact that there is this harmonious mini grand trine between the more spiritual planets feel to me like, despite the chaos, there is some semblance of divine protection. So Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so that's bringing in more compassion and that universal and Christ-like love into the mix of the world. And these, the outer planets are more, they definitely shift our world internally, but they do represent more so what is going on in the collective. So bringing this compassion, bringing this universal Christ-like love into the collective is amazing. And that is working with Uranus, which is the higher octave of Mercury, bringing in sudden awakenings and a closer connection to intuition and the divine. And then Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, bringing in the cycles of nature and death and rebirth and transformation into the mix. So the fact that all these collective planets and the highest octave of them are working together, it says to me that despite how bad we think things may be, it is somehow in divine order. And although I'm still tired of the saying, it's for the greater good. So whether that's with shaking things up in your personal life or in the collective, I still think there is a protection aspect to it and a divine aspect to it. And this is where also the North Node in Pisces, leaning into that faith, comes into play as well. But the Bible says faith without works is dead, right? So with this full moon in Capricorn, again, we're being asked to build. We're being asked to get outside of our comfort zone and take that step forward. Whether that's getting outside of our comfort zone and like healing the darkness within ourselves, getting outside our comfort zone and building something out in the world, like all of the above. Build the future we want in whatever small way we can. And often the solution is to get more local, not global. And the more work we on making ourselves better, which is the most local it gets, the better, I think. And then move out into the people in your home, and then move out into the community. Think global, but act local. And local really, really begins with yourself and bettering yourself and doing your own internal work. The only other thing to mention that's going on this week, like I said, is that shortly after this full moon on the 13th, not only will that the sextiles and trines to the nodes be exact, but that also is the day that Saturn will be stationing retrograde. So with both planets in Aries being retrograde, we may feel like we can't get ahead and are treading water, right? Because Aries is it's the fire energy. It's the I want to get things going. I want to do the thing. And with Saturn and Neptune turning retrograde, it might slow things down. So while this slowdown energy may be frustrating, I encourage you to take a moment to pause and be grateful for the moments of reflection that it's forcing you to have. We're individually, the way I see it is we're individually and collectively in labor, experiencing a lot of labor pains. I think the earth is experiencing labor pains, of the new versions of us that are trying to emerge, and the new version of Earth that's trying, the new world that is trying to emerge as well. And Aries wants us to move forward fast and just birth the darn thing already. But just like if a butterfly leaves its cocoon too early, it's not going to be able to fly. Its wings won't work. So the astrology is telling us the same thing. Get your ducks in a row, keep moving forward, keep doing your own internal work, but do so methodically and make sure it's got legs to stand on and isn't just impulse, which is Aries, or too emotional, which is Cancer. So Saturn is kind of like, Saturn is the lord of time, and he's the ruler of this full moon as well, right? So I feel like Saturn is kind of the like the doula of this birthing process that we are all going through, which is really beautiful when you think about it. So that's really all that's going on this week is the full moon today, and then Saturn turning retrograde, as well as that sextile and trine to the nodes becoming perfected on the 13th. And I am sorry that I was not able to get to the by rising sign. It is very time consuming to be able to do that. Hopefully I'll get to it next week, but I will be traveling the next 2 weeks. So my time will be even more limited. So I most likely the next 2 weeks will only be able to do the collective readings as well, just as a heads up. But I'd love to hear your comments below on how this resonates for you, how you are feeling this energy. And yeah, give me a like and subscribe too. I do have a question for you. Would you like to be able to learn how to pull up your chart, especially if you're a newbie to astrology? Would you like to learn how to pull up your chart and take a collective reading like I just did and understand how to apply it to your life? If so, please check the link in the description box below to get on the waitlist for an upcoming Basic Astrology 101 course that I'm going to be teaching, where I will guide you all the way from how to pull up your birth chart to understanding your big three, understanding, the language of astrology with the glyphs, the little pictorials and what they mean, what they represent, walk you through that. And then as a bonus to also understanding how to listen to a collective reading like the one I just gave and make practical use of it and apply it to your own chart and your own life to discover how it may be impacting you. And if you sign up for the wait list, you'll get a free glyph cheat sheet, so that you can begin understanding the language of astrology today. Additionally, I've got a really crazy deal going on through the end of July. I'd love to not only be able to help more people, but also to get more client reviews and testimonials. So I'm offering an insane deal on my readings for this month only. I'm offering 30-minute astrology readings, whether that's a 30-minute natal astrology birth chart reading, or if there's something that you're really going through, struggling through, want some clarity or guidance on, a particular question that you have, we can look at that as well. Or a tarot reading. You pick the topic and we'll come up with a spread. I'm offering those on a sliding scale of between $22 and $44, whatever you have in your budget. Pay what you can, plus giving me a review. or a testimonial that I can use on my website. So these would be delivered on a first come, first serve basis. And this is a heck of a deal and will only be offered through the end of the month, like I said. So as this is a one-time special, it's not available on my website anywhere, but you can secure your spot via Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or my Buy Me a Coffee link. And I'll put all those links in the description box below. And when you book, make sure to send me an email as well, which I'll also put that below. And let me know what you're looking for, and we can go from there. Lastly, I've still got the Tarot for Growth monthly challenge up on my website. This is the third month that I've been doing it, or not up on my website, but up on the community tab, where I post a question, daily question, that is beautifully aligned with the astrology that's going on. But the purpose is to to answer that question by pulling a tarot card, and it's geared towards, shadow work, self-growth, really becoming more in tune with yourself and in tune with what the universe and your higher self is calling you towards right now. So I would love to see your participation over there. Also, if you are interested, I have this daily tarot journal available now on Amazon. I'll put the link in it below, and it is a soft cover and a hard cover is available. It's pretty simple. Just there's a space for, your question. It's undated. There's a space for 5 cards. You can either write what the cards are in here, or I like to use it with these stickers. I'll link the stickers that I use below as well. So like here's how well they fit perfectly in the little box. There are a few pages that have misprints. The lines didn't show up, so I'm trying to get that corrected. But it's not on too many pages, and it just works out really well. I'm pretty happy with it. And then, you can color in the little flowers or whatever. But I'll put the link for that in the description below if you are interested. It's 100 pages. And then I also have all of my summer solstice, summer season offerings available that will be good throughout the entire summer season. There's about five or so different offers that I have specifically harnessing the summer solstice energy that lasts throughout the entire summer season. So you can check those links. And then as well, I am still promoting and offering my men's mental health packages. I created them during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but clearly men's mental health issues are year round. So I will be offering those year round. So the link for those are in the description below as well. And remember that everything going on, as chaotic as it is, whether that's in your personal life or in the world at large, is really happening for us, not to us. I truly believe that light always wins, love always wins, God always wins. And I see that in this astrology with the divine triangle. Do I understand it? No. But do I wholeheartedly believe it? Yes. I just have to. But it's up to us what we want to do with the energy that we're being presented, and whether we want to actively work with it for our highest and best good or not. Like, we can choose to remain in victim mentality, or we can choose the highest vibration possible of the energy that's being presented to us. And that's why I love astrology, is we kind of get a heads up on what's going on, and how we can make the most of it and what we're being guided towards. And you kind of have a soul knowing, right? Like, I don't know. That's the way I see and use astrology. So let me know in the comments how all of this is hitting you. And until next time, stay well and definitely try to stay grounded.